Let me tell you what you are missing, Dr. Jones.
Like many of you, I was a small child the last time there was a major release in the Indiana Jones franchise. Now, the famous archaeologist is back again in Indiana Jones and the Great Circle for PC and Xbox Series X. Only a year after the new movie adventure, Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny failed to capture the new generation of audiences in theaters, Dr. Jones is back again with his trusty whip and iconic hat to travel the globe and face off against fascists, cult members, and Nazis in order to tackle a whole new archaeological mystery. Wow, that was a lot. Will Indy end up as snake food, or will he be able to climb to the legendary heights of his previous adventures? Let's take a look.
Since it has been over a decade since his last video game adventure, before we begin, let's take a look at the history of Dr. Jones by focusing on his 3D adventures in gaming, along with a look at the films that inspired them. If you like what you see, please remember to hit that like and subscribe button to continue being a vital part of our growing YouTube experience.
Before myself and our music producer Epixel Music was even born, Indiana Jones had managed to transform from a single, good-natured adventure film about a globe-traveling archaeologist into a full-blown franchise with film sequels, comic books, novelizations, and of course, video games. Wait, LeoX was born in 1982? That makes him 42! He's old as shit.
Indiana Jones' first 3D adventure came in 1999, with Indiana Jones and the Infernal Machine dropping for the PC and Nintendo 64 a year later.
Capture him if possible. Otherwise, throw you the dog.
It was okay.
4 years later, next-gen console owners were experiencing the original Indy trilogy on DVD for the first time.
This was back when DVDs were still relevant, by the way.
And a new video game in the third dimension called Indiana Jones and the Emperor's Tomb for PC, Xbox, and PS2 consoles. It was quite a step up from our favorite archaeologist at the time, Lara Croft. This was Indy's first true 3D outing, but ultimately, it was a forgettable game.
In 2008, while Indiana Jones and Shia LaBeouf fans like our editorial writer LeoX were lined up to see Kingdom of the Crystal Skull in theaters, guys like myself and Epixel were discovering the franchise for the first time with the delightful LEGO Indiana Jones, The Original Adventures for Xbox 360, PS2, and Wii.
While 2009 didn't break any new ground for the franchise, it did give us LEGO Indiana Jones 2 and the final major release in the franchise until now, Indiana Jones and the Staff of Kings. It was a disaster for the Wii, but the PS2 version wasn't half bad. Indiana Jones was then buried and sealed in a movie and video game tomb for over a decade and a half.
While you were playing your pointless game, I was playing you.
Welcome back, Dr. Jones. We've missed you.
Yeah, but have we though? With a story set between the events of Raiders of the Lost Ark and The Last Crusade, or 1937 to 1939 for all you history nerds, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle features an original narrative that takes place right before World War II. This time around, Indy will take on all manner of Axis powers during this adventure, including the always hate-worthy Nazis, as well as some Italian and Japanese fascists to whip in the face. Trust me, whipping fascists in the face is one of the few things in this game that never gets old. Basing his movements and performance off of Harrison Ford, Troy Baker provides the voice and motion capture performance, and it's spot on.
It ain't a walk in the park.
In the game, you get to control Indy as he navigates through some straightforward, story-driven areas, as well as get to explore some semi-open world environments. If obtuse puzzles is your thing, this game's for you. We won't spoil the story here, but like most of the dear old professor's previous adventures, this one will see you traveling from the jungles of Peru to the Vatican, and from the classrooms of Marshall College to the ruins of Thailand. By the end of your journey, you will have stared at the incredible ceiling of the Sistine Chapel, the Great Pyramids of Egypt, and explored small towns in Connecticut, as one does.
You're a teacher? Part-time.
The villain is an imposing hulk of a man, or man thing? What the hell are you supposed to be anyway?
A giant named Locust.
The less we say, the less we spoil, but we really wouldn't be spoiling much, really. Employing a range of mechanics from first-person gameplay and combat to more puzzle-heavy elements including stealth, the Great Circle will constantly keep you on your toes. Remember to look for alternate paths along the way. However, after the opening prologue, fetch quests will be the only thing keeping you preoccupied. If you are a longtime fan of Indiana Jones films and his 3D video game adventures, this game is probably what you've been waiting for your whole life. The graphics are stellar, the action's intense, and you'll soon be traveling to exotic locations and uncovering valuable artifacts while trying to protect the world from Nazis with the best of them. Which brings us to the rest of you. I first became a fan of Indiana Jones as a child through his first 2 LEGO adventures on Xbox 360. Those games were a blast to play as a kid, colorful, funny, and all around great experiences. Also, while the 90s beat-em-up style melee combat was fun at first, beating up Italian fascist NPC clones that only come in 3 or 4 facial and body varieties gets old very quickly. Unfortunately, like its theatrical cousin, The Dial of Destiny, the film that lost like $200 million last year, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is not the game that we thought it was going to be. While we enjoyed some of the new faces like the dancing Cardinal and the imposing Locust, as well as traveling to beautiful locales, ultimately, this adventure gets completely bogged down in boring fetch quests after boring fetch quests and story-driven dialogue that more often than not leads nowhere. Both Italy and the Vatican are still gorgeous though. We just wish that there had been more of a point to everything. Now I can go. I still don't have enough to buy the fucking camera.
Making progress.
What the fuck? Wrapping things up, this is the most realistic looking Indiana Jones game that we have ever encountered. That alone is an achievement, so fans of Dr. Jones will be quite pleased. The lengthy prologue plays like a perfect realization of playing through a full-fledged cinematic Indiana Jones film. Those of us looking for a bold new adventure in the franchise and an action-adventure puzzle game that doesn't feel like an antique will have to keep digging elsewhere for gold. One person's trash is another man's treasure, but this gaming artifact should have stayed buried, because it's for indie diehards only. For everyone else, prepare to be underwhelmed.
You can't just run away from your problems, Indiana.
Watch me.
7.5 out of 10.
You're wondering if maybe you should have built yourself a life of meaning.
This editorial review was written by me, LeoX, and adapted into this video by our editor, ShadowGuyGaming. Be sure to check out his original video game playthroughs over on his YouTube channel. All of our music is owned and created by Epixel Music. Be sure to check him out on YouTube.
We might have a problem, Dr. Jones. Your brand new game already feels like it belongs in a museum. But hey, just remember, if it's worth a click, it's the one.
Wait.
You missed, you fucker.